Public Access Afterworld, new novel by Jane Schoenbrun, auteur, queer filmmaker out of New York. Most recently reviewed their new movie Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, which is now playing in theaters. And I want to thank the Hogarth Press for the advanced reader copy. I am very honored to have this early. This is the debut novel by Jane Schoenbrun. Big fan of all their movies. It goes without saying that I was excited to see how their style would translate onto like pages. There's a lot of prolific filmmakers that have juggled their form into this way. What a film could give you and what a book could give you are two completely different experiences. But I also think through prose you can make something weirder or more complex than a movie could ever do. Public Access Afterworld is a trilogy capper to, I guess, what is called Jane's screen trilogy. Don't expect any of the characters reappearing on here. This is a new story and it's more of a sequel in terms of concepts and themes. Of course, the early aughts of the internet and pre-TiVo television are heavily influenced on here, as are influences like David Lynch and Mark Frost or David Cronenberg. And you know, that might just now seem like an obvious reference for an artist like Jane Schoenbrun, but what we get here is really interesting. It's almost like a mix of Twin Peaks: The Return, the Fairly Odd Parents Channel Surfers special, and Enemy of the State. And it's very meta, which is what is to be expected, but it also reminded me a lot of another filmmaker's debut novel, the equally bulky Aunt Kind by Charlie Kaufman. Unlike Aunt Kind, a lot of this book is a page turner. The sentences are light and really easy to just consume and keep going. Experimental passages do make its way on here, especially in like the last 70 pages of this book. But for the most part, it seems Schoenbrun is like swinging for any number of commercial literature that you could think of. The writing on here would be appealing to the up all night binge reader or someone who used to be one of those. I think I fall into the latter. So don't let the bulky size of this book turn you away. There's a lot of entertainment on here. And there are some road bumps on here for sure, but all culminates to something worthwhile. There are a lot of good characters on this book. This book's about Bethany Peters, a mid-20s trans girl living in Austin, Texas. She works for a web moderator company called Globalville, where she notices a streamer named Jules who's up to something mysterious and maybe life-threatening. This spawns into this saga of what we learn about Public Access Afterworld. It's an MMO that's similar to the one that Casey plays on We're All Going to the World's Fair, but also quite alike to the disappearance of Maddie on I Saw the TV Glow. There's quite a few story threads on here, and they're all chopped together in these episodes where the chapter count gets restarted, and this helps propel the pace of this book very well. I mean, you can easily put this down anytime you want and pick it back up and just kind of resume where this dense story is. It's only not complimentary when we get one of those sections that deviate from the story of the book, whether it be the deep dives of a fictional universe within this book or like true Mark Frost, David Lynch fashion, an origin story. There's a section on here that reads a lot like the Gotta Light episode on The Return, and it's not a bad thing, of course not, but I did want to kind of like get back to the story of Bethany Peters, Jules, David, and everybody else. All the non sequiturs do end up playing a part to the overarching narrative here, and there are still exciting moments scattered through all of these. It is interesting seeing all of the polarized reviews of Camp Miasma over the past couple weeks. I liked it, but this might be the kind of project that the Jane heads would want. It definitely has like the most outwardly queer cast of characters yet, and it might even be like their most ambitious statement about identity that we've gotten. I'm sure it means a lot to Jane to create these queer characters that are going through like action movie dilemmas. It still has that like jokey attitude that Camp Miasma has. Like there's a whole chapter that starts off with like the origin of the Third Eye Blind debut, and there's plenty of write-ups to like fictional TV shows that mimic real ones. Like Miasma's dissection on where movies come from, this book kind of tries to answer the question of like where the shows come from in this universe. It links all of these projects in an expansive way, and I mean, I really love this book. This is a great project to both new and ongoing fans of this filmmaker. Does it lean onto its literate qualities as much as I like my books to do? Not really. It does feel like a Netflix series that was like translated in prose. But still, this is an incredibly ambitious project by Jane. The way this book ends is both satisfying and question-filled. It may not be my favorite work of theirs, but I highly recommend checking this book out as soon as it's out. I would get public access Afterworld in 8.3. It is coming out by the Hogarth Press on October 27th, 2026. Thank you for watching.